coming to you hot from Miami. My heaven on earth, just moved here from Chi-Town. Anyways, I wanted to share a little bit of something with you that I am doing that is so much fun so that you could play the game too for yourself to give your life an up level and a bump of just like absolute positive energy, which I'm all about. Adding some sparkle to your life. And so one of the things that I uncovered when I was coaching with one of my ladies was we started to play with this concept of expect to be delighted. And what's really awesome about being a coach is when I'm coaching someone one-on-one, I get to it's like a mirror. I get to take a look in the mirror and say, where could I be using this, and how might I be able to do this in my own life in a way that really allows me to keep going on the up level, the up level, the up level. I always say I'm a more whore, but it's from a way of like, I love life and I want to squeeze every single juicy morsel of love and light and goodness and fun and adventure out of life that I possibly can. So, and that's my mission, is to share that with you. So I started playing with this concept that she was playing with, and I turned it into this game where I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I expect to be delighted. And the way that I do this is I have my screensaver on my phone says expect to be delighted. The lock screen, the home screen, both of them on the phone say expect to be delighted, so that every time I like check the time, it says expect to be delighted. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be delighted today. What I have found is that what we expect, we tend to create. And we are active creators in the sparkle of our own life. And so let me give you a tangible example. And before I give you a tangible example, I also actually write down I expect to be delighted by, and whatever experience I'm about to go into. So like if I am about to talk to someone, I'm like, I expect to be delighted by, and then I write down their name. If I'm going somewhere, like even the grocery store, I expect to be delighted at the grocery store. I expect to be delighted everywhere. Okay, tangible example. Oh, the humbleness of our journeys. Okay, so one of the examples is I was car shopping, and I went into I really wanted a luxury car for the Epic Sexy You retreat house and here in Miami. And I wanted a convertible. And so I went into the BMW dealership because I had seen some of the convertibles that they had. And I was like, oh, these are like totally Epic Sexy. And I went in there and I was not delighted. And like my whole body language, I just noticed shifted. It was like, wah, wah. Okay, so yeah, it was not my best work. So, I mean, it was frustrating. I was frustrated. I felt like I wasn't being heard. I felt like my answers, my questions weren't being answered. I felt like the guy was really frustrated with the questions I was asking. It was not my best work, people, not my best work. So anyways, so I walked out of there. I was really disappointed and I was irritated, and I noticed that old pattern of wanting to blame, which is really, we're human, right? Like this old pattern of like wanting it to be his fault that I had a crappy experience. And then I was like, slow your roll, sister, because you know, that's like my higher self, my higher soulful coach inside me was like, no. You are the master creator of the delight in your life. And if you're being honest with yourself, did you expect to be delighted there? And it's like, no, I actually expected because of an old reference point, an old paradigm that I had. My first car that I bought, it was an awful experience and I expected it to be another awful experience. What? And I got an awful experience because it's what I expected. So I said, okay, what do I want to actually create? So this is how you expect to be delighted. You ask yourself first, what would delight look like? You have to know what it would actually look like, right? I was like, oh, okay. So I expect to be delighted. What would that look like? Well, I want to go in there and I want to, when I'm buying my car, I want it to be this experience where I feel like a queen and it's fun and I get to be me and I have lots of energy and I ask 1,000,005 questions and they're happy to answer all my questions and I get to sprinkle sparkle and love and light and that person sprinkles it back to me and it's just this amazing experience and I have a lot of fun and it's joyful and it's amazing and I get to be a joy factory and a sparkle factory and it's awesome, right? And a question factory. So I was like, cool, so what can I do to be an active participant in creation of this sparkle and light and love and joy? And so I walked into the Mercedes dealership and I said, who is your most obnoxiously positive, happy person that you have working here? And immediately the gentlemen started laughing, they started making jokes, they started saying salespeople aren't happy, they started saying like that person doesn't exist, and then they were like, oh, I know exactly who it is, and they called the guy's name, and from like across the showroom he was like, you know, waving, and I was like, yes, obnoxiously happy, very positive, like that's who I want to work with, because that's how I am, right? So what ended up happening was I got everything that I expected, right? Like I wanted a bow on my car, you know, like to each their own, but I wanted to walk out with a car that I absolutely love, that was totally epic sexy. I got this silver car, it's a Mercedes, it's got this red top and a red interior and like red and black seats. It's so sexy and I love it. And the experience of it was so great. They answered all of my questions. They even had they have a guy who, so they have, you know, Edgar was my guy at the the Coral Gables Mercedes dealership. So I had Edgar, he was awesome. He was very, very, very helpful. And then I had, you know, a gentleman who was in finance who answered all my finance questions. Like they really have it sorted out. And at the end, Edgar put a bow on my car for me and I got to take photos and all that. So why am I sharing this with you? Because you are an active participant in the delight and or disappointments in your life. And the disappointments. I'm gonna repeat that. You are the active participant. You are the master creator of the excitement and or disappointment, the delightment or the disappointment in your own life, right? So like if there's some stuff going on and you don't like it, like you get to stop and pull back and go, cool, like what do I actually want to create? And then how can I be an active participant in the creation of that, right? And so also if I expect to be disappointed, how do you think I'm gonna show up? Right? Like my whole body, you know, versus I expect to be delighted. Delight me, you know? Like who do you wanna hang out with? Do you wanna hang out with a girl that's like, I'm totally gonna be disappointed? Oh yeah, whatever, you know? Or do you want to hang out with the Sparkle Factory? Now, teach their own, but I personally prefer to hang out with the Sparkle Factory. So, giving yourself permission to create the delight in your life for yourself and for others and be an active participant in that and expect to be delighted. It's a mantra that now I like love. It's a game I love playing. Expect to be delighted. Expect to be delighted. I expect to be delighted. In this moment, I expect to be delighted, and you can use it as a pattern interrupt if you're in the moment of experiencing something you don't want. It's like, okay, hold on, I expect to be delighted, right? What would delight me in this moment? What do I want to create? What do I want to experience? How do I want to feel, right? And then allow yourself to get into that. The expectation, I expect to be delighted, right? So I expect magic in life too. I'm a unicorn, right? Like I expect to attract a high vibe unicorn tribe. These are my expectations of life. So what do you think I get? I get those things. It's amazing. So just practice expecting to be delighted and let me know how it goes. I'm excited. Anyways, so have fun. I will continue to share things with you that are working in my own life so that you can use them for yourself to get your epic up levels and have your own epic sexy life. Okay, bye.